Hello and welcome to this week's video. I'm going to be using two cut files on this video that come from Pear Tree. So I have the title Time to Celebrate, and I also have the cut file for the ice cream bowl, although in this occasion I have actually used my Cricut to draw this particular image because I wanted to be able to fill in the colours on this and actually add it as a picture rather than an actual cut file. So I'm using some Shimmers paints here to paint in the ice cream. So we're going for a very light skin tone, under my skin is what it's called, that I'm using here on the base of the ice cream. So this is a photograph of my daughter when she went off to university, and they all went out late one evening and got ice cream, and so this is just to document that. It's just one of those little events that you should celebrate, all the little things and all the little fun outings that you do when you first move out of home and you're on your own, and just because you can, really. So I'm just taking a paintbrush and colouring all of this in. Now, when you actually turn this cut file from a cut file into a print file, it gives a double line. So I was a bit surprised when I first put it through to draw that this was the way it was going to come out. So it actually takes the inside and the outside edge and gives you a double image for everything. At first I wasn't entirely happy, wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, but as I'd printed it out, and this is the design I had in mind to do, I kind of went with it. So I'm just filling in the major part of this with the colour. So I have also used, at the moment, I'm using the purple colour, which is called Iris My Case. I've also used the magenta, and I've used It's Meant to Be. And now I am actually using the royal red to do the cherries on the top of the ice cream here. So I thought I would like to do these cherries in a red. And I'm layering it quite thick actually, because I want this to be quite a dark colour, whereas the other colours I have toned them down because I didn't want them to be too bright. I just wanted them quite dull and quite muted. So now I am actually using I'm going to use two of my liquid pearls. I am using the red one here to go around the outside of the cherries, just to give them a lovely glaze. And the red liquid pearls is red ruby. And then I'm also going to be using the chocolate to go around the drips around the ice creams. Now I was having a bit of difficulty with this brown one because it kept clogging up. So there's obviously a little bit of a hard or dried up piece of liquid pearls on this. Inside the pot, and it keeps moving into the tube as I'm trying to squeeze this out. So you see me constantly taking my pin and poking it down the center to try to dislodge the little bit that's missing, or the little bit that's dried up. And then I'm also taking a paintbrush and just smearing this as well, because I don't want to have a really what's the word I'm looking for? I don't really want this to have a smooth look. I actually want it to look like it's bubbled and cracked and it's thinner in places, kind of like the old days as a child with the ice magic. I want this to be raised in some areas and lowered in the other, and it kind of, that's what I was going for. The look I was going for is the sort of iced magic, cracked chocolate look on this. and I'm really liking the way it's turning out now. Actually, it's come out quite nice. It's actually better than I originally thought it was going to be, and yeah, it looks quite wet. It looks like chocolate, and it looks good enough to eat. In fact, that's what my husband said when I showed it to him. He said it was good enough to eat, and he was wanting an ice cream. Although the weather's just turned nasty again, and it's been wet and miserable here in England for the last couple of days after having a very lovely warm spell for a week or so. So the rest of this page is all about the cut file. I am doing this as part of a challenge for Pear Tree. This last Saturday, yesterday, they had a crop and have listed challenges up on their page, and I thought it would be nice to do some of the challenges. And I don't use cut files very often, although I have really enjoyed using them today. I really love this title, Time to Celebrate. This one actually had a set of balloons on the cut file when I did it, but I've cut those off, and I'm going to use those in a different page on another occasion. The balloons didn't really go with this page, but it's just about sort of celebrating the everyday sort of moments, I think. And the blue, I went with blue because of the blue in the Ben and Jerry's pot. It just fitted quite nicely with the photograph, and I've come in with grey for the bowl, and I am just using some water to water it down because I don't want it too thick. And the grey colour, oh, what was the grey colour? Where the skies are grey is the grey colour that I used for the bowl, and I actually just missed a little bit of the ice cream there, so going back with the brown to fill in the last little bit that I obviously missed when I was originally painting this up. So I'm quite happy with how this has come out. It does look good enough to eat, and yeah, I'm really happy. So I'm just pushing in the colour in a few of the places on the cherry that weren't completely filled, so there's always a gap or two when you look back, and I'm just sort of filling those in and sort of pushing the liquid pearls a little bit out to fill up every single gap. So I've left that to dry, and now I'm coming back in with my photograph, just double checking that it's dry. So somehow I managed to print this photograph out twice. I'm not really sure how I did that. So rather than waste the photograph, I thought it would be nice just to take the second ice cream pot and also the spoon and raise this up on the photograph. Seem to have been doing that a lot of late, actually. I've done that quite a few times in the last couple of weeks. But it's just quite a nice way of using the extra photograph, and I'm not really going to need this photograph for anything. So I'm just cutting one of the foam pads so that I can put it behind the handle of the spoon, and then I'm sticking the foam pads on the rest of the photograph so that it will stand up and out of the photograph to give a little bit more depth to my page and a little bit more texture, and just make a little bit more of the actual ice cream itself. My journaling on this page, I'm going to at the end add a journaling card, and I'm going to do the journaling on the computer, so I'm not actually going to be doing any written journaling on this page at all. When I stuck the pads down, I realised that I needed to actually colour those pads in. The white pads were obvious there in the picture, so I've just got a black pro marker, and I've just filled those in so that you can't see those anymore. And now I'm just found a little bit of between the time and the celebrate that hadn't been poked out, so I've just poked that out, and I am going to stick down my title, but I'm obviously thinking about what else I'm going to do, and I've grabbed a pot of what are they called? Oh, I can't think of what these are called, but they're kind of like liquid pearls. Stickles, that's what they're called. I have just the glittery clear stickles here, which I am adding to my ice cream. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when I picked up the Celebrate, I kind of realised that at the end of Celebrate there is 8. And so I used these stickles, and I'm going to use the stickles on the word 8 at the end of Celebrate, just to emphasize it. I always like to have something a little bit quirky. I am very often accused of slanting things when I'm asked to do something. When we had a challenge once, and it was all about well, they said it was all about the number 8. They didn't actually use the word number. They said it's all about 8, and they were showing images of 8th birthday parties, 80th birthday parties, anniversaries and things like that, or you could make a card. And I actually did a page about food and entitled it I Ate That. So I kind of like a little bit of a twist to the normal. So so I thought I would do that here with this cut file. I'm just fixing up the E there. When it cut, it didn't quite cut properly, and so the E was a little bit ripped, so I just had to cut that and tidy that up, just making sure that you won't notice that when it's on the page, and just making sure that it's stuck down nicely. And now I'm just going to go in with the holes in the middle of the B's and the R, and also with the triangle in the A, because without them the words don't look quite as good. I know some people leave them off, but I just thought they would look a lot better with the little circles in there, so I've popped those in. And sometimes I will put the solid B in there so that I get them in exactly the same spot, and sometimes I don't bother. So here I am coming in and just giving emphasis to the 8 at the bottom of it. I love the way the Celebrate actually almost looks like, now that it's come to my mind, it kind of stands out from the rest of the word 8. So so I've definitely made sure that that is a highlight, because who doesn't want to just dig in with a spoon into the ice cream, because it just looks so luscious. And as I say, great cut file. So just decided that I would put a backing, some of this paper that I used for the title Celebrate. Really thought it would just needed a something extra so the picture didn't quite get lost next to the ice cream. So I thought I would back it on this piece of paper, and then it also gives me an extra little card that I can use as my journaling card. You can see the piece of paper has a little bit of a hole in it. It's where I started to cut something else out and then stopped. So I'm going to make great use of this piece, and you're not going to see that hole at all in the piece of card because of the way that I've used it. So it's kind of an offcut in itself, and it's a great way of using up some of the paper behind your picture. You're not going to see it, so it doesn't really matter if it's a whole square or not. You do see me a lot of times gutting the middle out of paper so that I can use it for a different project. So I'm just coming in here with the last bit here, which is to pop this down and also do my journaling card. So when I popped it down, I wasn't sure if I was going to have the journaling card coming out of the left or the right, so I left a gap so that I could put it in either way, and then I decided that it was going to go in the left hand side, so I've put on a couple of foam pads as stoppers. And now I've done the tag. Just thought I would cut a little bit out so that it's not a square, it just didn't look quite right. So I cut one side and then turned the other piece over so that I could use it as a template. I'm going to come in now and just put in a few sequins so there's a little bit of bling, or a little bit more of the bling, because the shimmers are quite blingy and glittery, just to finish off the page. So I thought it just needed just one extra little bit of something. So once this page was finished, I looked at it and went to take my photographs and realised that I wasn't entirely happy. So I did come in and end up cutting some white off the top and a little bit off both sides, and actually backed it onto a Bo Bunny double dot design piece of paper, because it just looked too stark and the page sort of didn't really anchor. It really needed something else. So you'll see in the final photograph, or in the first photograph of the whole page, you will notice that this has actually been backed on a piece of blue paper, just to finish it all off. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I love where I ended up putting my cat. She is sat at the very end. You can see that hole in that piece of paper now. The cat actually sits on the ice cream bowl and kind of blends into the ice cream bowl, and I pop it on in a second. And yeah, I hope Pear Tree appreciate this page and like the way that I've used their cut file. I really think it is fantastic. New company, so if you're looking out for some cut files, please go over and visit them. And I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.